I will say, awesome fucking friends. The lifestyle has created just this, like, we feel like we hit the friend lottery. It's created this enormous circle of like-minded, amazing friends.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their fascinating stories. We always strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy and positive approach to non-monogamy.
However, everyone approaches this a little differently, and at its core, our show is about hearing and learning from different experiences and approaches people have. With that in mind, it's important to remember that the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily represent those of our own.
It's also important to remember that we aren't doctors or therapists and that we produce this show for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on this show.
We should also let you know that this podcast will hopefully include some explicit language. So, if that kind of thing offends you, you should probably keep listening until it no longer does. If you're under 18, we'd suggest finding a different show or gather up your parents and listen as a family. Enjoy!
Welcome to episode 29.
No.
Welcome to episode 28.
There we go.
We're Finn and Emma.
And today we have a ridiculous interview full of good information, but also lots of laughs, lots of fun.
There's a dog.
There's at least one dog, if not a whole pack of them. Yeah, we just wanted to say thank you to Tiff and Rach from the Sapphic Swingers for taking the time to talk to us on 4th of July. Apparently, none of us have anything better to do
than have a Skype conversation.
With each other. Not that there's anything better than having a Skype conversation with them. But the other thing we wanted to mention right up front, and this is something that is a huge pet peeve of ours and something that we try not to do as much as we can, which is calling people guys who aren't guys. So like, hey guys. So obviously Tiff and Rach are not guys. And this is something that comes up in this interview a handful of times. So for the first 12 minutes, we totally fuck it up, like just nonstop. And then for some reason, my little rodent brain kicks in and I realized it. And then we kept correcting ourselves. And I left some of them in. I took some of them out. The best part is that it was even contagious. And then they started saying it. So,
I know.
So we just...
You don't even realize you're saying it, and we're sorry to people.
It's a bad habit. It's something we hate doing, but we wanted to get it out of the way and say, yep, we realize we did it, but we're not going to go and fix it all, so forgive us.
Yeah.
In the meantime...
Check out our website. It's normalizingnonmonogamy.com, and there you can find a couple of links, right?
Yeah, there are a couple links. The first one is the way that we like to get tested for STIs, which we do regularly, is stdcheck.com. You go on, you make an account, you can walk into any like blood lab, LabCorp, Quest. You don't even have to make an appointment. You walk in, give them all your bodily fluids. They give you your test results like a day later, and it's pretty incredible. It's way easier. Save $10 if you use the link.
The other website we'd like to recommend is Casti, and it's the dating website for people exploring non-monogamy. We've used it for the last few years and love it. It's really user-friendly, and the owners are awesome. So you can also check out an interview with the owners of Casti, I think on episode 5 of our show. It was back.
It's early.
Yeah, back in the beginning. So check that out. Also, if you want a free 30-day trial of the website, go to our website. You can use the link there, get a free 30-day trial. And if you want 90 days, you can leave us a comment on iTunes or any podcast platform and get free 90-day trial.
All right, let's go talk to these people.
Yeah, ready for a ridiculous interview.
All right.
That's the B-roll.
All right. Well, welcome, everybody. We're excited to be here today with two fellow podcasters, Tiff and Rachel from the Sapphic Swinger podcast. They've been podcasting for about 3.5 years. They're making it really difficult to concentrate right now. And Tiff is 41. Rachel is 38. They've been together 12 years, married 7, and swinging for 5. Yeah. They're based in Fort Lauderdale, and they've got a cute little dog named Piper who I'm sure has seen some shit. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir, that's accurate.
Yes, accurate. Is there anything you guys want to fill in some gaps before we jump into your story and how you guys got to be where you're at?
Wait, are you into pegging? Because I don't know if I'm ready to fill your gap yet.
Well, we can get there later.
We can figure that out.
I thought you were a lesbian.
That is accurate. We are not into pegging the gentleman, but I was just making sure we're on the same.
We've certainly been asked if we wanted to.
No, that all sounded awesome. Thank you for the introduction, for having us on here. I think it's a really awesome podcast that you guys are doing. Sharing stories is really awesome. So thank you, and thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for coming on. And your guys' podcast is rocking as well. 30 some episodes by the time we get this out, huh?
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
You almost lost your voice there.
Yeah, we should say there may be some fireworks during this episode because we're actually recording on July 4th. So, yay.
I was like, that's random.
Well, just in case the listeners hear fireworks, I don't want them to be confused why they're hearing fireworks in like November.
Whenever this is released, okay.
I thought the fireworks were just for Finn's birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But they don't do them in Ecuador, so I don't know. I'm feeling neglected this year.
You get fireworks every year.
Oh, hey now.
I think when you were growing up, as a little kid, you thought all kids got fireworks on their birthdays, right?
I didn't think about other kids. I think about myself. All right.
Anyway.
So is there again, back to you guys filling in my gaps, is there anything you guys want to share that I missed in the little intro?
Nope, that sounded accurate. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Well,
all right, so that concludes this interview.
Yeah, it was great talking to you guys. Have a wonderful 4th of July.
We're done.
So how did you guys get into swinging about 5 or so years ago?
Well, actually, it was funny. We had a dinner party with a group of lesbians, so there's probably like 8 or 10. We all have to stay together. It's required. When you come out, you get a cat, a baseball bat, and a group of lesbians to hang out with.
You get like the buddy system kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. You gotta look out for your sisters. So we had a bunch of friends over for dinner, and this couple was talking about this place they went, and they have like a live sex show. And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. I was like, whoa, what's going on there? I was like, curious. I'm like, that happens? Like, you can go watch people having sex? And they said, it's a place called Hedonism nearby Fort Lauderdale, in a place called Pompano. And after the dinner party, I was like, I was a little drunk. I'm like, hey, Rach, would you be interested in going to a club like this to check it out? I was like, I don't know what it's about. I didn't know it was swingers. I didn't know anything. I said, let's Google it and check it out.
All she had to tell me was live sex and game on. I'm on board to go check it out.
So we started looking at this place called Hedonism, and I was reading some forums, and I see that there's another club called Trapeze that's nearby, and it's here in Fort Lauderdale. And they said, it's a younger crowd, it's, a better club. So we start looking into this thing. We're saying, wow, there's like swingers, like there's clubs, it's a whole community. I'm like, we're talking to Rach. I'm like, would we want to go check something like this out? And she's like, yeah. She's like, you want to check it out? I'm like, yeah, I totally do. So we start listening to podcasts. I think that's the way a lot of people get into it. They find out about it. They start listening to awesome podcasts like you guys. And we started with, I think, Life on the Swing Set, Swingercast. Which other ones, honey?
Swinging Around.
Okay.
And actually, Tiff, unbeknownst to Rach, Tiff had submitted a question to Swinging Around, and then she's like, you need to listen to this episode, and they read her question and responded to her question on one of the episodes. But it was basically just kind of what you should do in preparation to go to a swing club.
Yeah.
So this was before you guys had done any of those, like in preparation for your very first time?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It was probably, I think, November was when we first started learning about it and listening to podcasts. And I remember listening to a podcast at work, and I had to run in the bathroom and masturbate. I was like, oh my God, this is so hot.
That's a great story.
It was awesome. I was like, I have to.
Well, let me rewind for a second. So Tiff is the one that heard, this live sex show. And so, yeah, game on. We love watching porn. That would be super exciting. I never realized that there was this whole swing lifestyle. I never knew this whole thing existed. Although in my pre-Tiff life, which she affectionately calls the dark ages, I'd had some threesomes and foursomes in that time. And when I had told Tiff about that, she was like, oh my God, I could never do that. That would be something I'd be super jealous with. And so given her reaction, I was never going to ever bring up a conversation about let's go watch people have sex. Let's go play with other people. Let's go explore non-monogamy.
So so you told her about that way before you guys started doing all this. This was
Yes. Yeah, because as you say, we've been together 2 years. We've only been in the lifestyle for 5. Okay. So yeah, so we she knew all about my past.
Such a hooker.
So what shifted on your side, Tiff, that made it all of a sudden okay and interesting to go down that road?
Well, when she first told me, it was probably, a year or 2 into our relationship. And I got really jealous just hearing the story. And like, just first of all, thinking about her with other people, I got like super jealous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way I would share with anyone. Like, what if she likes the other girl more than me? What if they, they fall in love and I'm just like sitting on TV, sitting on the couch watching TV and drinking a beer? Well, actually, that sounds pretty good. So I was like, there's no way. I was like, I'd be super jealous. It's not something I thought I would ever even consider. And then I think, our relationship got so strong with her and I that I didn't worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it just never occurred to me that it was something that we could get into until we figured out, this lifestyle existed. And we never been like propositioned by a friend. We hang out in the neighborhood here in Fort Lauderdale. It's a really great lesbian, LGBT neighborhood. But we never were propositioned by another girl or anything. It never came up. And then I once I started looking into it, I said, we're at a good part, good place in our relationship that we could, make this work and it could be really fun.
Yeah.
So
you guys had the time to build the really deep trust in each other that I think maybe wasn't there right at the very beginning.
Yeah, I think with any new relationship, a year or 2 in, you're still kind of feeling things out. And it's not that I didn't trust her. I just sort of, maybe I didn't have faith in myself that she could fall in love with me and that she'd stay with me. So it was really different. But hang on, I'm gonna give her a kiss real quick. She's awesome. But yeah, just evolved. And I think, it's a little scary. We don't mind newbie couples. I mind couples that are new with each other. Right. It's a little scarier because I want to make sure there's, they have that strong bond to be in a lifestyle.
Was there any concern on your side, Rach, or were you, since you had done this in the past, was it a little easier barrier of entry for you?
Well, so as I said before, I didn't realize that this whole swinging community existed. And so when we first started talking about it, it was just to go watch live sex. And so we started talking about it, and then we didn't actually go to the club for about 6 months. So it kind of was building up and it was excitement. And then the first time we went, we were just so overwhelmed. We were like, oh my God, there's somebody getting eaten out on the dance floor. It was just an overwhelming sexual energy, excitement, just fun being there. So we hadn't really established we're just going to watch. That was kind of our mindset the first time we went to the club. So I guess that was the mindset I went into with.
Was just to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. And so after our first time, we started having a lot more conversations with, how would you react if I kissed a woman? And so that prompted the conversation after the first time.
So did you guys stick to that rule the first time you just watched? You didn't go and say, hey, now that we're here, we want to try some of the other flavors on tap?
We just watched, and it's funny because I'm from Miami originally, and so things don't get started down there until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So I'm like, okay, this club's open until 4. We'll get there at like 10:30, 11. And so we pre-party because we were super nervous and, excited, of course, but like, what are we walking into? So we got there kind of late, and by the time you get there at 10:30, 11, it's kicking. Like everyone's already had dinner, it opens at 8. So we get there at 8:30 and eat dinner and hang out, talk to friends. But by the time we get there, the music's pumping. Everyone's, connected already. So we get there, we get a plate of food, and we just set it down, and we never ate it.
No, we didn't get a plate of food.
Oh, sorry.
So we get there, and if you get there at a normal hour, they'll give you a tour of the club. But because we got there later, we never got that. So we had no kind of relation on where the bathroom was, where anything was. But thankfully, so we knew it was bring your own bottle. So we brought a bottle, and we brought it up to the bar. And thankfully, the moment that we did that, we met a couple, and they just stayed with us throughout the night.
They kind of ushered us around. And I didn't remember, like, after that first night, I was like, where was the bathroom again? It's like, cause it's so overwhelming and there's so much, it looks like a normal club, it's 2 bars. They got a stripper pole on the dance floor. They have, a bunch of seating along the side. So, but it was still just like so much going on that it was very overwhelming. So thank goodness somebody took us under our wing, under their wing, which is what we try to do. If someone's new, we're like, well, let us know what time, we'll show you around. If the club can't do it, we will. But yeah, it was super overwhelming. And there's this one room called the fishbowl, right? So it's got a the window you can look through. And
that's in the back room.
Yeah, it's part of the back room. But when you're on the outside club, you can look into it. So we call it the fishbowl. And they leave the curtains open till a certain time of night, maybe around midnight. So you can watch people having sex. And I remember just sitting there like jaw dropped. I'm like, this is so cool.
Like, live porn right in front of you.
It was, that's exactly right. It's like it had the voyeuristic for them and or exhibitionist for them and the voyeuristic for us, and a totally safe environment because you were still in the main club area. And I don't know, once we left the club, I'm just like, what just happened? It was so awesome.
Right. So how long did it take? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying we didn't do anything that night. We just talked to just a ton of people and, just kind of got comfortable in the environment and the sexual energy and just loved it.
How long did it take you guys from that point to, sorry, I didn't mean to call you guys. How long did it, I feel like such an asshole over here.
I'm not wearing my strap on.
How long did it take you to move from watching to progressing into interacting with other people?
Oh, the next time.
one more trip.
So, after that fun night, we went home and I started asking her questions. I was like, honey, the couple that we met, I thought she was really cute and I was getting a really good vibe from her, but we hadn't talked about what it would look like if I tried to kiss her. So what do you think? How do you think that would look for you? And so we started having that conversation. So then our very next time, I was on the dance floor and we were on the dance floor and we were dancing with a girl. And, so I went in for the kiss.
Mm-hmm. And I was standing behind the other woman and I was like, Rach looks at me, I'm like, go for it. She starts kissing her. I'm like, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be super jealous, but I was like, nope. I was like, that's super hot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to wait and actually see it before you know how you're going to react.
So the weird, awkward moment, I need to even things out now. So I've kissed her. So I literally I turned her around 180 and I was like, now you need to kiss my wife.
She like presented her to me. She's like, all right, I got to make sure that we're on the same page here.
At least you didn't make like the like, ugh, I don't know, thanks face.
Can you imagine?
Like, my brain now, I'm like, oh my God, that must have been so weird for her.
Well, we all make awkward mistakes sometimes.
Sometimes.
Like you're connecting with somebody and then you're kissing somebody and then they're like, oh, wait, hold on. You need to kiss her too.
It was so funny. She's like, I didn't sign up for this.
Do you two typically meet other lesbian couples, or are you a rarity in the swinging world where you're at least? Do you seek out others? Heterosexual couples, lesbian couples? What's your?
It's pretty rare for a female couple. Actually, recent weeks we were like last weekend we were there and there was another lesbian couple, and then allegedly a third one, and that is very, very rare at Track
Allegedly,
it was the rare trifecta last week.
Very, very rare. We've been seeing it more often, which I love. I think it's great for the LGBT community to be there. We've definitely seen some transgendered folks there, which I love.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I see. I'm like, hell yeah. I want bisexual men to feel comfortable to be there. It should be an accepting environment. So lately it's been really good. It's rare to have sometimes there's a female couple, but they do play still with men, which we don't, of course, but it's getting really cool. I'm like, yeah, this place is awesome. But it's hard because I don't know, a lot of lesbians get really, really jealous.
Do you see a lot of non-monogamy within the lesbian the lesbian community outside of you two, or is it typically not as common?
I would say not at all. Honestly, we brought one of our swinger friends to the Pride Parade one year. And prior to the actual parade, we went to a lesbian friend's house party. And so we open the door and we give her a hug. And our friend, who we've actually talked about on our podcast, she's Hot Mom. She pop kisses the lesbian host, and she's like gets very wide eyed, and she's like, "Oh my God, I hope my girlfriend didn't see that." And just from a little pop kiss. Yeah. And so that level of jealousy came up there immediately. Yeah. And that's how a lot of lesbians are. A lot of lesbians are like, they meet, they get together, they move in together.
U-Haul it.
Yeah, U-Haul it.
Get the cat and the other lesbian. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And they get super, super drama and super freaky if people hit on their ladies.
We try to avoid. We've never tried to hook up with another lesbian. Honestly, they're very clingy and drama. So we've actually steered away from them. We've never hooked up with a lesbian. We're making out with one though, or she might be bi. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
recently.
So after the two of you went to the party and played with some people, and explored that, had the kiss on the dance floor, where did your journey look like after that?
Well, we had a lot of conversations, like Rachel said, about how we may or may not progress with this. And actually, we went back, I think, the next weekend. We go pretty much every Saturday. And had another great experience. And this time we said, let's go to the back room and see what this is all about. So in the back room for on-premise clubs, you have to be naked, and they give you a towel. And that's kind of even the playing field. That way you don't have like somebody who's fully clothed, just hanging out, like creeping on walk, Right. So I like it kind of evens it out. And I wish we had like a film crew that follows us around, because I don't know how this happened, but all of a sudden we're like kissing some girl, like tag teaming her. Then I start going down on her. Rachel's kissing hers, and I don't think we even got her name. And this kind of back in the day when we weren't really caring about having a connection. We're like, it was the first time, and we just went all in and fucked this girl.
But we were also on the big orgy bed, and there was other people that came over and involved themselves as well. So literally we went from, kissing on the dance floor to full on like orgy bed.
Right.
Wow. That's quite the jump. Yeah. Jumping right in.
It is funny because I hadn't licked any other vagina in a while. So I was like, figuring my way around a little bit, because they can be different.
I had to learn the topography.
The hills, the ridges. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
The underbrush. Sorry. So when you two progressed, see how I did that? You two? So when you two progressed beyond the kissing on the dance floor, was there any jealousy that crept in at that point, or has it been pretty much smooth sailing since the start?
Well, I think with any lifestyle couple, there's always going to be bumps in the road. And when we first started out, we went to the club a lot, and then we got some emails on the lifestyle sites. We were definitely on the major ones down here. And we started hanging out with this one couple that lived, maybe an hour away from us, and we started seeing them at least once a week, and then some points like 3 times a week. Like we went on vacation with them to the Keys.
We would sleep over. All 4 of us would sleep in their big king bed. Like it became very close, very fast.
Yeah, and we were still kind of new in the lifestyle at this point, and it was the first kind of outside the club, I don't want to say relationship, but sort of friendship, I guess. And being new in the lifestyle, that was really different for us. And we're not, we weren't looking for a girlfriend. We're not looking for any kind of polyamorous thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'll just say right now, that's not for us. But like I said, when we first got together, threesomes work for us. So will it happen in the future? Probably not. But, like I said,
you never know.
No problem. Yep. I'd say, probably not, but if it happens, it happens.
Right.
So, we started hanging with them so much that, when you're getting intimate with a woman that much and you're hanging out that much, feelings start to happen. And
it's natural.
Yeah, I think it's natural, and that sort of threw us for a curve. And we we didn't like that direction it was going, just because it started to kind of take a little bit away from us, and we weren't interested in having a polyamorous relationship. So that was definitely something we had to discuss.
But, and also with that relationship, we went back to the club, and we, at this time, like we said, we were just we were having like a free for all in the back. Like we were exploring and just having wild fun. Mm-hmm. And after that, we went in the back room and we're like, oh, she kind of fucked us up a little bit, because we're like, oh, it's so much better when you take a step back and you get to know somebody and get to that level where it becomes just not anonymous sex.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you're having trouble getting erections at this point?
Lady boners.
I got whiskey clit.
I have not heard that before.
We had to politely walk away from some encounters because we were talking things out, and just figuring out what we wanted to do in the back and what we wanted to do with this lifestyle.
It was weird. It kind of made us like not as interested as hooking up. And I'm like, well, we got to talk about this, because that's not what we got a lifestyle for. And it's, it's kind of interfering with our fun on Saturday nights. And I know she was super jealous when we went to the club. Like she like texted, she was like, "Oh, the club burned down. Sorry."
The woman of the other couple.
And so I was like, "Oh," and then I'm like, well, "We're not cheating on her. She's not our girlfriend." But then I was like, "This is weird." I was like, "Well, I also like getting to know someone," and that was kind of the tipping point for us, like to cut down on just the anonymous fucking. I mean, it still goes on, but
rarely.
But just on Saturdays, right?
There's a fine line between Saturday night and Sunday morning. Right?
It's not anonymous if you know her name.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, oh, nice to meet you, Jennifer. Let's do this.
So you saw a little bit more of a shift towards maybe like a friends with benefits style.
Yeah, and it got a little too intense, I think, and so that was, and we're so new to lifestyle, and it was just a real new experience for us, and
right.
we didn't. That definitely took us back for a minute, caused a little bit of rift, and we I had to sleep on the deck for like 3 days. No, I was kidding.
Did you guys end up ending that? Damn it! So did you end up ending that relationship?
Yeah, but it was also a little awkward because she felt bad for him because he couldn't play with us, and he's like, I'm fine, and he wants that word compersion, which I absolutely adore. Like, if someone's not into me, they're into Rachel, I'm like, awesome. But if it was happening, like, all the time, I might be like, okay, well, I wouldn't mind playing too. So she felt bad that he couldn't play.
But it was also weird, too, because on a friendship level, we were such tight friends with him. We would be texting him, honestly, 20 times throughout the day. And she wasn't on any of those texts. It was between the three of us. So it was this really weird disconnect where we had this amazing friendship with him, where we were just like, we were like bros in a way.
Oh, bit of romance. Yeah.
Yes. And like we loved him in that way. And then we would fuck her. But it was really weird because we weren't as connected with her from a friendship level, but a fuck level was great.
Yeah, I think that's a fascinating dynamic. And something we actually want to ask you too about is, how does that work when you meet a couple, since it's based on what we talked about earlier, you typically meet husband-wife couples or boyfriend-girlfriend couples. I mean, and you mentioned you don't play with other men. Do you just sort of ask them to go stand in the corner, or how is it like, hey, you can go watch from the fishbowl while we're with your wife?
Yeah, how do you navigate that?
Well, either people know us from the club or from the website, and they've seen our profile because it's very different. So they tend to remember it. And so they know how we play, but we never tell the guys, you can't be in the room, or you can't, our only rule is just don't touch us. And we're good.
And when they don't know us from the website or the club, that's our intro, is like, we start chatting with them, and oftentimes he starts hitting on us. And then we say politely, you're very handsome, but we're only into women, but your wife's pretty sexy. And so as we escalate to, is she into women? Do we want to play? Then, the conversation becomes clear. Like we're up front with, we don't play with guys.
Right.
Yeah.
I imagine much like other men in the lifestyle who aren't bisexual or gay, the incidental contact probably isn't something you're not going to like punch him in the face if he accidentally brushes up against your leg or anything.
Well, unless they want it. I mean, I'm not opposed to punching somebody in the face. No, we totally understand incidental conduct. We're not heterophobes or anything.
No, right.
Some of my best friends are heterosexual.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you.
No, like, I've still touched a woman while he's fucking her at the same time too.
Yeah,
and like, whatever. That's fucking hot.
It's the intentional that will just absolutely drive us nuts. That's not cool. It's like, if a man is trying to touch another man, and you're not going to stand for that. Why should we stand for that?
Yeah,
and that's one of the frustrating things. We say, oh, we're lesbians. It's my wife. We're lesbians. Oh, the first question is, so you don't play with guys at all? And we're like, no, because in the lesbian community, that means you only have sex with women. You only can fall in love with women. But in the lifestyle, it seems to sometimes get a little misinterpreted. So we're fine. We correct them. And occasionally, there's a hand. You say, I'm sorry, not us. And if they do it again, then you leave or you get them kicked out.
Right. Have you two had pretty good luck and pretty a positive response from couples when they know that you're only interested in the woman, or does that turn a lot of them off?
We're not for everybody, because there's a lot of guys that can't deal with that. But from the ones that can, we've had amazing response. And yeah,
we actually had an experience lately where the guy's kind of a cuckold, and he's like, this is awesome. So, we're tag teaming his girl, and he's like, we're like, jump in if you want to play with her, just let us know, tap us out, we'll swap. Me and Rachel play together, you guys play. So we're never like, you can't play with her. Like sometimes we'll, sit on her face while he's fucking her. Like, our one rule again, just don't touch us. But this guy was loving it and having such a good time. And he was so respectful and cute. At the end of the night, he goes, is it all right if I hug you? I'm like, oh, of course. I was like, we love our lifestyle guy. Like, we're all naked. I'm like, oh, absolutely. I'm like, it was so adorable. I'm like, you are my favorite. So the guys enjoy it.
I mean, we also had another guy that was so into what was happening that literally he left the room, and in trapeze, there's private rooms where you can watch from another private room. He went around the other side to watch us playing with her.
Wow.
And we had no idea and that was just such a cool, different experience that the dude was that respectful and just into the compersion and watching his wife have pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So generally, the guys are really good. There's definitely been, a time or two where they haven't been, but that's not cool.
And I will say probably our biggest fight that we've ever had in the lifestyle, our biggest discussion after the fact, was the one time where the guy was disrespectful, where we said 3 times, please don't touch us, please don't touch us. And he kept proceeding, and we didn't get up and leave. And that was our big discussion, is why didn't we get up and leave? Because we were both about to orgasm. But it also kind of threw us off too.
Yeah. That was a really bad thing. I think I was mad at myself for not getting up and leaving, but I should be mad at him for being disrespectful.
Yeah.
But either way, it was a really bad situation. He waited till I think I was coming, and then he just starts grabbing tits, and I'm like, dude, it's just not cool, man. So I was mad at him and mad at me, but it really caused us to have a long discussion about what we should be doing in this kind of situation.
I'm sorry. It's really good to hear that in the majority of people you come across have been very respectful and open, and I think that's amazing.
And it sounds like you don't have any trouble landing yourself couples or people to play with or have fun with, at least be friends with, whatever you would want to call it. Do you have any advice for any other female couples that are out there? I know you said there's maybe not a lot of them, but we'd like to think that we have probably most of them on the line right now listening.
Yeah, hopefully. If anyone wants to start exploring that path that you guys have paved,
tips for them?
Advice?
I would say, number 1, be extremely upfront with, hey, we don't play with guys. Make that kind of, as you guys are meeting and interacting, make that kind of forth conversation. And instead of waiting and flirting and then getting to the back room and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm sorry, we don't play. We don't play with guys.
Mm-hmm. I'd say we were super scared when we first started looking into lifestyle. We thought, oh, it's going to be a big grope fest. Like, I've been to Mardi Gras, I've been groped, inappropriately several times an hour at Mardi Gras. So I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be just so disrespectful. And it's not that way. We said that one incident, like that's probably the worst one that's ever happened to us. And in 5 years, that's not too bad. You know? So I'd say don't be scared to explore it, because people in the lifestyle are generally more respectful than you're going to find in the vanilla, because they know if you get a bad reputation, either no one's going to talk to you or you're going to get kicked out of the club, because, lifestyles just it doesn't stand for that crap. So don't be too scared. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Talk to us if you're hot. Like, email us, saphicswingers@gmail.com. If you're super hot, we'll break you in. It's not a problem.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
I love that.
I can spell Sapphic, they can email us.
Other advice is don't be afraid of rejection. Don't be like, we're not like, being two women, because we don't play with men, we're not for everybody. So don't take it personally. Don't be afraid of rejection. But also in that same note, don't be afraid to politely turn somebody else down, because that's still kind of a work in progress for us. Tiff usually like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom and leaves it to me to do the polite turn down. But that's never easy. That's never easy in any dynamic. And, especially when you're getting somebody like throwing themselves at you, that's something to kind of work on.
I think that can be, I guess, advice for anybody in the lifestyle or just navigating different relationships. Like, you have to figure out how to say no politely and how to take that sometimes. It's just part of life.
Right.
Yeah. It's hard, especially face to face. It's like email, you can construct a nicely worded email. Of course. But face to face, you're like, how do I do this without hurting their feelings? But, you got to be honest. You can't do something you're not going to, you don't want to do.
Right.
Sexually or emotionally,
Of course. And sometimes given the situation, like, you can feel pressured. And so don't let yourself do anything you don't want to do, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Actually, one thing that just kind of came to my mind was one of the, I would say, advantages of your situation is you don't have to necessarily be attracted to the guy. There doesn't have to be a 4-way connection. There just has to be, I guess, a 3-way connection, right? So I think that's one of the many benefits of being a lesbian in today's world, right? You guys are full of the privilege. That was sarcasm.
You should try it out.
I was going to say, watch your sarcasm.
That was sarcasm for any listeners out there.
Well, plus, the only reason I married a woman is so I doubled my wardrobe. Now I got I got so much clothing now. It's awesome. That's definitely true, because I don't know how easy it is for heterosexual or male-female couples to have that forward connection. We talk to friends. I'm like, I don't know how you guys even do it, because that's so difficult. And then compatibility, just, talking, and then sexually, it's got to be really difficult. But for us, we have the same taste in women, so it's kind of easier. And it's sometimes, it's not always perfect, but, if a girl's into one of us, or if Rachel's into somebody I'm not into, I'm like, go for it. Conversion. I love watching her. I was like, I'll be sitting here masturbating or touching Rachel. I'm not going to stop her and be like, well, I'm not into that girl, so you can't play with her. Like, as long as that's one of our rules, is that, we do same room play, with very, very limited exceptions. There's maybe 1 or 2 girls that have, a hall pass-ish, or sorry, hall pass-ish. That's a weird word, and I should never say it again.
So you mentioned one of your rules is that you play in the same room. Do you have any other rules that you think are maybe unique or that are important to you both within the lifestyle?
That's our big one. We don't play with men.
Yeah,
obviously, but it's not a rule. It's just us. We don't take one for the team. It's kind of like we said. We have the same taste in women, so it's kind of
right. We never really have to.
Yeah, or if we do, like I said, I watch Rach, or she watches me, and we have a good time. I don't know. Those might be our main ones. It's like. We use sex toys, so that's okay. We don't have any restrictions on that. So, if we use them on one, we got to make sure it's 100% clean before we use it on somebody else. But right. I don't think we have a ton of rules.
Well, yeah. Because we use sex toys as well, like if we are going to share the sex toys, we'll use condoms and stuff if we don't have a chance to get up and clean them appropriately.
But
But yeah, so safe sex.
Yeah, and we get tested often just to make sure everything's all clear. I feel like there isn't as much fluid going around, but you got to make sure, even if you're lesbian or whatever, you still got to make sure, there's still stuff you can get. So
yeah, I appreciate you saying that. What was the next question out of my mouth was going to be, how do you navigate the
she read your mind.
Yeah, the topics of safer sex and testing and all that. So
yeah, well, and we're fortunate. There's one girl who said I do have a STI or something, and she told us, and we're like, okay, good, so we know how to proceed properly. Right. And I'm like, thank God, because how many people are going to tell you that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It was interesting. It was the very first time we ever used a barrier for oral sex, and we couldn't really kiss her. It was very weird. It was still really fun, but we resorted to a lot of toys.
Well, we did everything. They're very, very good about
Thank goodness she told us.
Yeah, because a lot of people might not.
So it sounds like you guys mostly go to trapeze. Over the last 5 years, have you guys experienced other places? Have you traveled around at all? And do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, we definitely love trapeze. We visited the one in Atlanta as well, which is a world different from the one here in Fort Lauderdale. So far, the trap here has been our favorite.
We've also been to Colette's.
We've been to Colette's in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And we've been to Miami Velvet. So we're lucky we have about 4 clubs that aren't far. Maybe, Hito we still haven't been to. It's funny because the first club that kicked off our whole lifestyle journey, we've never been to. That's the one that started us off. And we're like, shit, we've never been. That's probably 10 minutes away. We haven't checked it out.
When you find a place you love, you might as well keep going back.
It really is. Oh, we went to Secrets in Orlando. That's like a resort. Now I guess they do condominiums. You can buy a condo and it's just a swinger, nudist kind of place. It's kind of cool. But when we went, it was really run down. And it was so bad that we had 3 days to stay there for free, and we left after one night.
And went to trap that night.
And went to trap. We're like, we miss trapeze. I heard it's much better now, so I'm not trying to trash it. I heard they fixed it up, and the grounds were really nice. We've done Hito in Jamaica. We did Young Swingers Week, so we won a trip actually from trapeze, and for 3 nights. So we went to that. That was awesome.
Yes, Young Swingers Week puts on quite a party, huh?
Yeah, it was awesome. And I think at that point, have we done the swinger cruise?
Yes.
Okay, so we had done the swinger cruise before that. Now we do them pretty much every year. It's a 7-day cruise. Usually it's out of Fort Lauderdale or Miami. So complete ship takeover. It's 3,000 swingers on board. They have, naked pool parties. It's best. In our opinion, the absolute best.
Yeah, we're going in November, and yeah, the cruise is our favorite of any kind of lifestyle vacation we've done.
Mm-hmm. How do you not feel overwhelmed, I guess, with 3,000 people on a boat that are all swingers?
Well, they're only going to have sex with 1,500 of them.
That's true. But still, it's overwhelming, I guess.
Probably on the first night. It absolutely can be overwhelming. That's one thing I liked about Hito when we went, was that it was a smaller group. For me, there wasn't as much to do, but it was awesome. The resorts are fantastic. When you go with a group, I think you guys are going with Life on the Swing Set. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that is correct.
So I think that's awesome that you get to cultivate the relationships. It's not as intimidating or as overwhelming. Because since we've done both, we can kind of see, both sides of it. The cruise it can be overwhelming, but it's also absolutely amazing. And you meet just tons of people from all over the world. And there's so much to do, and there's pool parties, and we've grown to have this group of friends that it's our 1 year anniversary, or not 1 year. It's our anniversary every year on board, and we get to see them, our friends from France. So we went over, actually this day last year, we're in France with our swinger friends, cruising around the French Riviera.
Wow.
Because swinging is awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We get our anniversary every year, and you kind of get to grow a group of friends, and we have people email us and say, we're going, it's our first cruise. I said, well, come meet us, because we have a group of 20 friends that all get together, and we're going to, make you feel comfortable. And I'm talking a lot, so I'm going to let Rachel say something, because she's staring me down.
She's giving you the old stink eye.
To my left. Given that it can be overwhelming, maybe a cruise is not the recommendation for somebody new in the lifestyle or their very first vacation, because I think you do need to be a little confident in your relationship and confident in approaching people. We're kind of outgoing, and our very first cruise, given that we're a lesbian couple, I think we attract a lot of attention. Our very first cruise, it was easy for us to meet people, and we also got involved in the games and just being a part of everything. And so, yeah, I think any advice for people going on cruises, just don't sit back, like enjoy it, meet people, take it at your level, because it's not overwhelming when you take it at your level. With a cruise, you can decide, I want to be by the pool and in the sexy games for 5 hours, and then I want to take a nap. And you can make your own schedule. It's not like you're thrown. It's probably similar to Desire and Hito and whatever. You're not thrown in everything at once. You make your schedule as you want it to be.
Right.
But you are surrounded by a boat full of friggin' swingers that are awesome. And anytime you leave your cabin, you're going to probably talk to people, which is really cool. Yeah. Even if you have no interest in playing with them. Yeah. I mean, there's an age range, obviously. And so, like, that was one of the coolest experiences ever, getting on a cruise for the first time. You get in the elevator and you're hanging out with, there's like 6-year-olds in there, and you have the coolest conversations.
Wait, did you say 6-year-olds? 60. Oh, 60.
I heard 6.
Can I get a judge's ruling?
I heard 6 too.
One of the things I was curious about is, being 2 women, are you able to skirt around a lot of the rules where, no single men are usually allowed, and typically not male couples, but are you a little more welcome in that sense, or do you play the we're just single women showing up to the party?
I will say that is the one benefit of being a lesbian couple.
We already talked about one benefit. There's so many benefits we can't even keep track of them all.
Another benefit of being a lesbian couple is that we get into clubs, we get into events as single women, because even though we are a married couple, they still see us as 2 sexy single women. Mm-hmm. So we get in really cheap to the club, even though we always play together.
Yeah, that's definitely a benefit, is the cost of it. It's funny that the very first cruise we went on, we went to book it. It was a couples cruise, and this is 5 years ago or however many years ago it was. And they're like, they wouldn't let us book it. They said 2 women can't book this. We had to do a phone interview. They said, well, you want to go on this cruise? I said, yeah, we're a couple. We weren't married. We were married at the time. We said we can bring our marriage license. We're a married couple. And he's like, well, I have to call you and talk to you. And he's like, well, how would you react if a man came up and touched you? I was like, well, the same as I do in a club. I'd say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in men.
It's not like you turn around and slap them or something.
So that was very unusual, because we didn't expect to have any problems signing up for it. And plus, who doesn't want like more single women in a swinger venue or vacation? And actually, we looked into going to the Life on the Swing Set trip to Desire when we first got into lifestyle, because that's what podcast we listened to. And
5 years ago.
Yeah, and we went to book it, or we emailed them, and they said, oh, we don't allow same-sex couples. And so I emailed Cooper, and I was like, what the hell, dude? So Cooper's like, oh, I'll fix this. And he did. He's like, you guys are welcome. But by that point, I'm like, do I want to go somewhere that isn't welcoming to us? And so we kind of, push it aside. We're like, well, maybe we'll go next time. And by that point, we've been going to Trap enough that we won like $100 off for the cruise. And we're like, holy shit, they have cruises. And it's so convenient for us. Like, we're here in South Florida. So, it's like 15-minute drive versus like having to fly somewhere. So we're like, let's go on the swinger cruise. And so that's kind of how we started getting into the cruising of it. But now I'm so glad they fixed that shit where they're at least allowing them, at least for some weeks. I don't know if it's all year round. Right. I know there was just the Joneses. I don't know if you listen to the Joneses. I don't know if you listen to the Joneses. They have We Gotta Swing, our thing. I always want to call it We Gotta Swing. So they were just in Desire. Yeah, with Spiritual Swingers. And so they did like a sponsored trip. And for that one, they did allow same-sex couples. So I'm like, is this really a thing anymore? Like, really?
Right. To not let them?
Right. Yeah. Now, if it was like 2 guys pretending, 2 straight guys pretending to be a couple, that'd be fucked up. But I'd hope somebody would be like, these guys are not, a couple. I don't know. But then if they're bisexual, like, are you going to keep them from going?
Yeah.
I don't, shouldn't it be open to
whoever?
But, I don't know.
Right. And so does a marriage license qualify you as a couple or just dating somebody? So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of, it opens up different boundaries.
Right, for sure.
Do you think two men who are married in the lifestyle would have a lot harder time than you guys, like two women?
Oh, big time. Yeah. There's such a stigma now, which I think Finn talked about on one episode, how when you see somebody on their profile say, oh, if you're bisexual, stay away from me. You know, I'm 1,000% straight.
Yeah.
And we totally agree with that. There's somebody who's like, I'm straight, don't touch me, keep away from me. And I'm like, I'm not going to want to even converse with these people because it feels very homophobic.
Right. But I don't think that gay men need to come into this lifestyle, because gay men that want to play with other gay men, there's a separate community for that. And interestingly, we got called out by one of our family members, by my cousin, who's a gay man, and he was married to his partner, and he felt like our energy and completely called us out as being in the lifestyle. But he and his husband were also non-monogamous, and so they have different apps, different resources, but they kind of lead the same lifestyle, but it's not within the swinger community. I think it's kind of just the open gay community in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's interesting.
And it's crazy because you can't really turn your vibe off, I think. I don't know about you guys, but like we're always just like open and kind of flirty. And it's funny that he picked up on that. And he's like, do you guys play with, do you guys, hey guys. He's like, do girls play with other women? And we're like, holy shit, he called us out. And we're like, yeah, we do. And so then he went on to tell us how him and his husband, you know, also sometimes play with men. Right. So it's so interesting that you put that vibe off and that the family knows you. And I'm hoping our family doesn't figure it out though. That would suck.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever even turned my vibe on yet.
You gotta turn yours on, huh?
That might be part of my problem all these years.
Hey Finn, where's the on-off switch?
Yeah.
Please show us, because there's times we want to turn it off.
Believe me too.
Well, if I could find it, oh Jesus, if I could find it, I would turn it back on. Well, one of the last questions we typically like to ask people are, what are some of the benefits you have seen to your relationship since you started doing this, if there have been any?
Well, one, I will say, awesome fucking friends. The lifestyle has created just this, like, we feel like we hit the friend lottery. It's created this enormous circle of like-minded, amazing friends. Number two, I would say communication. Tiff,
I'll take this one over because I grew up in a household that was very non-communicative. You didn't talk about your feelings. You didn't talk about anything. Definitely talk about sex. You didn't talk about any of that stuff. So I kind of grew up where you had to just deal with stuff on your own. You didn't open up to anyone. And that was a big barrier for us, you know, initially in our relationship, because I was very to myself. I didn't open up to my beautiful wife. And with a lifestyle, you communicate or you don't do a lifestyle, because you have to be open and you have to be ready to talk about your feelings. So for us, that was a huge, huge benefit. Agreed?
Absolutely. I would say another benefit is getting to explore and try new things. So whether that's sex toys, because I enjoy penetration, but Tiff does not enjoy penetration. So one huge benefit for me is that I get to wear the strap on, and I get to be in that position with another woman, because Tiff doesn't allow me to penetrate her.
Well, you can still wear it even if you're not penetrating, right? You can just wear it around the
walk
pool
around.
And...
doing chores, you know.
Doing ring toss around the dildo.
Absolutely. That's what I do with mine all day long.
Do you?
That's true, though, because we've also tried new things that we never would have seen or heard of, like the Sybian. Rachel's tried on a cruise.
Woo,
stuff, yeah, we never knew about.
We might be getting that soon.
Oh yes,
her 40th birthday. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone.
And then I think there's even another benefit, is that you you're naked in front of a lot of people.
Yep.
And so it makes you more wary of your appearance, and you want to get more fit and be in. You want to be your best self.
Right.
I think try to, always improve. And one of the great things is I feel like the judgment is a lot less in lifestyle, and I hope it is. And we see body types of all shapes and sizes, and it's fucking awesome. And people are rocking it, and they have the confidence just to be out there by the pool and just naked and having a good time and just be like, fuck it. This is who I am. You like it or you don't. There's, 2,000 other people here on the cruise or wherever, or 100 people other here at the club that you can hook up with. This is me. I'm happy with myself, and that's awesome. And for us, it has made us, try to step it up a bit, but we're never like feeling like we're not good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So on that same line of now everyone's naked and things are definitely have a little different vibe. One of our new favorite segments is what...
We don't have segments. Favorite question.
New favorite question is, have you experienced, what's your number one swinging blooper that has happened either to you or involving you?
I like that. That's a really good question. I like the one with the squirting. I think that's Rachel's, if she wants to tell it. That's her. I think that's Rachel's number one.
Okay. So this was in our early days when we were in the back and we didn't get to know names and anything. And we got pulled into a private room. And I was playing with a girl and I made her squirt. And it was freaking awesome and hot. And fast forward an hour later, whatever, we're getting ready to go home. Where I'm at the bar, and so I don't know. I'm being a my flirty self, and I'm like, oh, so how has your night been? And she looks at me and she's like, yeah, it's been pretty good. You just made me squirt in the back room. That my blooper was, I didn't recognize her outside of that lighting.
and she called you out for it.
Yeah.
As well she should. We have a thing called trap lighting where people look a little bit different in the back room. It's very strategic and intelligent of them to do that. So kind of it's a little brighter. So you're like, or if you see somebody in daylight, you're like, oh, that's what you look like. Yeah. Trap lighting is tricky. So I can't blame Rachel too much for that one.
That's funny.
Oh, well, all you can do is laugh and say sorry, and that's all you can do. Have fun with it.
Absolutely.
It makes a good story.
She had a good night, though.
Right, yeah.
Because you were part of it.
She had a good one.
One of the last questions is we like to have people tell us any resources that the listeners might find really useful.
Okay. I definitely avoid our podcast. It's horrible. Oh, no, actually. All right. It's not too shabby. If you guys want to check it out, it's Sapphic Swingers. Sapphic. I know it's a weird word, but if you're into etymology, Sappho was a pretty awesome Greek poet. Totally bisexual. I'd totally do her. Our best resource to date has been podcasts. And there's so many out there and there's so many different perspectives. And I like the way you guys introduce a lot of different stories on your podcast. I'd say do a search or look for resources like you guys. We always recommend, and we follow a lot of great podcasts. What do you think, Rach?
I would agree with that. Also, any kind of social network, we're going on the cruise, so Facebook with the Bliss Cruise. There's people that give tips and tricks on what to do on different vacations. I think the same with keto and stuff. Kick groups. A lot of the websites like SLS Swing Lifestyle, they have their own break-off groups that are forums where you can go in there and ask questions. Definitely for the cruises. I'm sure for all the other vacations. And you can get in there and be like, well, what can I expect? And actually talk one-on-one with somebody, which is really helpful.
Yeah.
But I think these are the main ones we use, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
And I think you guys got to give yourself a little credit. You have an awesome podcast, and I think it'd be very useful to people. So
yeah, and we'll make sure people get all the links in the show notes so they can find it without any trouble.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun, and sorry for any background noise.
Yeah, dogs barking, fireworks, cars backfiring. people jerking off, apparently, according to the motion that Tiff is making.
Yeah, hopefully we can edit most of them out. Anyway.
Yeah, well, again, thank you guys. Thank you both. Again, thank you both for coming on, taking some time out of your holiday. Thanks, Piper, for being so quiet the whole time. We appreciate it. And we will be in touch and talk to you both soon.
Paw 5.
Paw 5.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon. Foofda.
Well, that's going to take some serious editing. So how crazy was that interview?
Oh, my God. No, it was super fun. And thank you to Tiff and Rach for chatting with us. And yeah, also
check out their podcast too.
Definitely check out their podcast. They're a lot of fun. And if you're ever in South Florida, just text us. We'll send them send you their address. And you can
I think that's a little bit of an invasion of privacy.
Okay. In the meantime, at the end of this episode, we left a little blooper in there for you, so check that out. Next week, if
they're listening to this, then they heard the blooper.
No, the bloopers, it's a special blooper.
It's after this?
Yeah, you don't even know it exists.
Oh.
So maybe you should listen to it. Anyway.
I did. I heard it, but it was at the end of the recording I listened to.
Yeah, but it's going to move. Okay. You don't understand.
You didn't explain your idea to me. Anyway.
So next week is a super special week. We've got a dual episode week.
Yes, we do.
We had the fortunate experience to a while back make friends with C&D from Swinging Down Under, and they said, you know what, people want to know who you are, which I disagree, but nevertheless, they said, let us come on your show and interview you. So we have an interview where they interviewed us for our show, and it's not the same format. They asked us a whole bunch of things about something crazy that we're doing with our lives right now that they know about that nobody else really knows about. So you're going to find out about all of that, but it will be on Monday. So you don't have to wait till Wednesday, and we're not bumping the interview next week. So come back Monday. You're going to get a special bonus episode. I think it's Monday. I just told you it's Monday.
Okay.
It's Monday of next week.
Apparently we don't have the ability to look at the calendar.
5 days from today. So anyway, listen to that, and we will see everybody on Monday.
Yes, and then again next Wednesday.
That's right, next Wednesday.
We have a normal interview format. We interview a young couple named Sarah and Zach, and they are a lot of fun, and they offer some really neat perspectives from people who are in their mid-20s. So a lot of fun. Definitely check that interview out as well.
Should we go now?
Yeah. Bye, everyone. So after you guys went to the club and played, how did your journey look after that?
Did you call them guys?
You're right. It's just like...
It's okay. It's all good.
You're going to make me say the questions. So after you guys...
You just said it again.
It's natural.
What have you do?
It's just like natural. I don't know. Rusty can't figure out what we're doing here. Anyway.